2036 to 2037. I think I have the right years because I accidentally wrote the wrong thing. 8. No, that's not right. I think it's supposed to be 5 is what I meant to put. Yeah, so 2035 to 2036. Merging of the kingdom. Initiation of the laws of the days of Noah, like I was talking about earlier. And that's also when they want to have their world courts by. Now, 2042 to 2043, Silas describes as the lead up to the flowing of death and chaos and the announcement of their little world to come. Now, in 2049, by 2050, that is the end of the cycle. And basically, that's that's essentially their initiation into this messianic era. Now, that doesn't mean that it's fully arrived, but that's basically 2050 is the date that they want to have their whole world to come by. Anyways, interesting, isn't it? So, now, as I've noted here, it's important to note when going through this is my interpretation. Nobody did this. Well, I haven't seen anything on this. I've actually only seen I almost said it. Hicksosians doing videos on this so far. I've heard people talk about this, but I've never seen anyone map this out. And I tried doing this a little while back, and I redid it. So we're going to see, try to compare what they wrote and make assessments for that year. Now, I'm not the best at remembering news cycles and what happened every year. I'm actually not the best with current events. I'm more, well, I wouldn't say I'm the best at anything, but I just get interested into something and I start researching it. So I'm that type of person. I'm a chaotic researcher. But that being said, I do provide the documents. So, as I was saying, it's important to note that according to Silas, 9/11 was actually supposed to happen 7 years beforehand. I'm not positive, but I do think it made a little more sense for 7 years to happen beforehand if you try to line this up. But that being said, the lineup it's actually pretty decent. It's not quite accurate with my understanding, but it's not bad, and it does suggest that there was planning. So, the year 2000 to 2001 was the first cycle, so I put these dots in between the 2 years to represent that in between these 2 years is the Hicksosian year, which corresponds to these events. So, unworthy children, that crooked, perverse generation, their baseness has played God false. So, I interpret it as the Hicksosians have tricked and deceived their God. This is their redemption through sin. They have placed the sin on us through sacrifice. So we will take the blame. So this is my whole justification with this being like the start of 9/11 is basically, all right, so if you understand the Yom Kippur scapegoat ritual, essentially what they believe is that they're sacrificing a goat, which is actually, the goat is actually supposed to be a human being. They say it's a goat, but it's supposed to be a human being because Esau was also a goat, and Esau was sacrificed. So they believe by sacrificing a goat, it basically appeases Satan, and then Satan forgives them or doesn't notice that they actually committed the sin and actually puts the blame on us instead. So it's a way of deceiving Satan. And then they wrote, now that those little symbols, I believe that's the tetragrammaton. So it's Yod He Vav He, if I'm correct. I'm not the one to go to on Hebrew symbols, But I remember looking this up when I first did it, and it said that was another name for God, so I assume that's what it is. So, do you thus requite God, O dull and witless people? Is not this the Father who created you, fashioned you, and made you endure? So 9/11 was our return. Muslims took the blame for a Hyksos attack. We took the blame for starting a Hyksos war in the Middle East, and we are expected to give a return to the Hyksos. So they took the blame, so we blamed the Muslims. The Muslims blamed us, and yet we all are supposedly supposed to owe this Hyksosian group something. That's sort of how I take it. And then remember the days of old. Consider the years of ages past. Ask your parent who will inform you, your elders who will tell you. So, 9/11, this is post 9/11, they call it a day to remember. So ironically, this could be a form of mockery to where they're trying to create false flags, yet they mock the fact that nobody remembers it. And then Just Sanguinus says, I believe that they are Hyksosian groups that are following different books of scriptures, Talmud, Sephirot, Teleket, all with the same planned ends. Exactly. I believe the same thing. This is all definitely engineered. So, 2003. Sometimes I just give translation. So here, when the Most High gave the nations or the Gentiles their homes and set the divisions of humanity, God fixed the boundary of the people in relation to the Holy Land's numbers. So, there are 72 tribes of the Holy Land, or the holy people, as they call them, and there was 72 nations. So 72 other, non-holy people according to these people, non-Hyksosians. So from God's portion and his people, Jacob, God's own allotment. So basically God will reclaim the Hyksos. In 2005, God found them in a desert region in an empty hollowing waste. God engirded them, watched over them, guarded them as the pupil of God's eye. Now, notice they use this pupil of God's eye symbolism. It's sort of like my logo. I will actually explain my logo real quick. So it's supposed to be an all-seeing eye, sort of like the what they show you on TV, the whole, isn't it CBS that uses that? A lot of companies use the eye logo. They use this symbol all the time, and I think it's like the all-seeing eye. Now, I actually traced my eye. I don't know if you guys have seen those sheets which show the different degrees. Basically, it's like, oh, if you see somebody with eyes like this, don't go near them. That's the psychopathic eyes. I actually just traced my logo from that. So, if you want to know what the logo is based off of, it's literally a psychopathic all-seeing eye. I made it because I thought it was funny. And initially, the logo had fire around the earth, but my wife told me not to do that one because it seemed like too much was going on. I also noticed inadvertently, this wasn't intentional in the logo, but I did it stylistically to show shade or shading in a 2D format, but I also sort of realized it looks like the Earth is eclipsing the moon and the sun. That wasn't intentional, but I just realized it. I should think about things before I do them. They really like these whole eclipse things, and I don't like the eclipses. They're never good signs. So, that was a bit of a distraction. I'm rambling now. God found them in a desert region, in a empty, hollowing waste. God and oh, I think I read that part, didn't I? God engirded them, watched over them, guarded them as the pupil of God's. Oh, I didn't read the side part. So in John 1:1, he states, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So whenever they say God, to me, what that actually means, it means the Bible. And what the Bible is to them, it's essentially their instruction manual, and they literally refer to it as the instructions. So I think sometimes when they say God, they literally just mean the instructions. So basically, I don't know why I wrote that there, but I was thinking like, this. Oh, guarded them. Yeah, I was thinking that the Bible, their teachings is what they view as protecting them. So in 2006, the whole slogan was like an eagle who rouses its nestlings, gliding down to its young, so did God spread wings to take them, bear them along on pinions. I was focusing more on the pinions part, but I was sort of thinking like an eagle, the eagle is the symbol of America. That was the year that they started construction on the One World Trade Center. The one world for America, like an eagle who rouses its nestlings, gliding down to its young. So the One World Trade Center glided down upon America. This is just me picking things out now and trying to observe things. I'm trying to think about this. I wrote things out, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to do this part because I did a lot of preparation for this. So I think that could be referring to the entrance of the One World Trade Center. So did God spread its wings to take them, bear them along on pinions, so guide them like gears. So the Bible is their plan. Oh, that's why I wrote it before. So it's like their instruction. It's an instruction manual which guides them like gears in order to rule over the world. So now we have our next period of 7 years. And it's always more interesting when you get to these or other big events. So God alone did not guide them, no alien God alongside. So I wrote the Hyksos were guided by Yahweh alone, not Jesus or any other pagan gods. In 2008, God set them atop the highlands to feast on the yield of the earth, nursing them with honey from the crag and oil from the flinty rock. That was also the year of the world financial crisis and an increase in oil prices. Interesting. And they even reference oil. So, I found that interesting when I got to that. So his, what did I write? Yeah, this, I did write that he represents Saturn, God of the harvest. His day is the seventh day into the cycle in which the fruits of labor must be harvested. So here, he's always harvesting something on the seventh day. So this seventh year, he's harvesting that jackpot from the world financial crisis and that extra oil money.